Hello, guys, and welcome back to the FPL Duo. This is the live reaction Q&A. We're going to discuss Game Week 20, and we're also going to discuss Game Week 21 as well. But we are here to talk about double Game Week 21. It is a very exciting game week. A lot of big games, a lot of good games, goals, all that stuff. But yeah, we're going to get into it. Sorry. We're going to get into it. If you are just joining in the stream, as always, drop a like if you can. But yeah, how you doing, Jordan? Have you enjoyed the football over the weekend?
Yeah, it's been, as expected, quite a few shocks and very nice surprises, as you can probably tell why there's a nice surprise, as you know, I'm a Man United fan, and you know how that result went. So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to this knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah, I thought you must have had a good weekend, obviously, with the win for United over City, but we'll get into it. Let's let's bring up our teams and discuss how our Game Week 20 went. So, as you guys can see, it's been a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, it's not been a good game week again, I'd say, somehow. I'll come on to it. So let's start with Ward in goal. I wish I transferred Ward out, if I'm being honest, for Edison. I didn't do it, and I kind of wish I did, because Ward went and conceded 2 goals to Nottingham Forest. 2-0, and Leicester poor again. And yeah, doesn't get the clean sheet. I know Edison didn't get a clean sheet, but at least Edison has another game to come and another double in 23. So I may take Ward out. I just don't like Leicester right now. But we'll see. So yeah, nothing really interesting there. Let's move on to the back three. Now, Cancelo got the 1 point. There was maybe doubts whether he would actually start the game going into the Manchester derby, but fortunately for us, he did start. But he did concede. Now, the game went pretty. I don't think Man City were great in that game. I think Man United probably edged it in terms of the performance, but it looked like Man City were going to keep the clean sheet at one point. He was getting to the second half, and we know what happens with the goal. Man City do get the goal first, and Man United strike back with the Bruno goal. I don't know what people's thoughts are on the Bruno goal. I thought the Bruno's goal was offside because I felt Rashford interfered with play. That's obviously another discussion. Unfortunately for Cancelo, he didn't keep a clean sheet. We did expect Man United to score, if I'm honest. We didn't really expect Man City to keep a clean sheet. Man City's defense hasn't been great. And Bruno Fernandes scores around the 78th minute. So, yeah, and then after that, literally 2-3 minutes after that, Rashford goes and gets the winner. So, not a great day for Cancelo and the City defense. Moving on to Trippier, and he just carries on plowing through and getting points. A 9-pointer from him. I would say I didn't want Trippier to keep the clean sheet, if I'm honest, because Trippier actually gave away a penalty today. He fouled one of the I think it was Decordova-Reid. He fouled Decordova-Reid, and Newcastle concede a penalty, I believe, in the 70th minute. It's 0-0 at this point, by the way, and Mitrovic steps up to take the penalty. And whoever didn't watch that game, it might be one of the strangest things I've ever seen in a football pitch. Mitrovic steps up to take the penalty. He slips. He kicks the ball with his right foot and he slips. The ball hits his left foot and then it goes in, goal. Mitrovic starts celebrating, and then Nick Pope straight away says, points to the referee that you've had double touch there, and he gets ruled out. I've never ever seen that ever happen before, where a player has a double touch in a penalty and he gets ruled out. So that was interesting. And I will come on to Mitrovic there. So Trippier does end up keeping his clean sheet, even though he did concede a penalty. So 9 points from him. I think he gets a couple bonus points as well. So can't really compare. He gets a 3 bonus again somehow, as always. And yeah, you've got to have Trippier in your team, guys. Even if a single game week player. I remember there was a few people considering, should I bench Trippier? And I said, never. You just don't bench him. The way Newcastle are at home, they're pretty formidable. Moving on to Luke Shaw. No clean sheet for him this week, but I know he's been really good since the restart. Kept a few clean sheets, goal as well. Man United conceded through Jack Grealish with a header. Thought there was a bit of poor defending from Man United. They just left him unmarked pretty much in the box, but nothing Luke Shaw could really do about that. I thought Man United were pretty good defensively overall in the game. So yeah, 2 points and a blank for sure. Let's move on to the midfield five. Mount. I wanted to take Mount out if I'm honest, but I had to keep him into my team because I had too many other things I had to do, and it would have required a hit. But I thought I'd leave him because he had a decent fixture against Palace at home. Chelsea did win 1-0, but nothing from Mount. Just a 1 point for the clean sheet, so nothing to really write home about. Moving on to De Bruyne, who I did bring in for Salah, and I'm glad I did because Salah went and blanked, and De Bruyne got me with that 1 assist. So I'll take that and 1 assist from De Bruyne, better than nothing. 5-pointer. Plus, he has another game to come against Tottenham as well at home, and I do believe after watching Tottenham today, Man City can win that one probably, and maybe De Bruyne can get something in that one, as well as Cancelo, who does have a second fixture left against Tottenham at home. So obviously, game week 20 isn't actually over. There are two fixtures still left. Moving on to the Arsenal boys. I wasn't sure whether to have Saka and Martinelli in the team because they did have a fixture against Tottenham. I didn't think it would be a high-scoring game, but Arsenal went 2-0 up very early. Saka crossed it, and Lloris I don't know what he was thinking. Like a blunder at the near post. Lloris is just having a terrible time, and Saka got was accredited the assist. And then also for the second goal, I think Saka passed to Odegaard, and Odegaard just shoots from about 20 yards out and scores in the bottom corner. Lovely finish from Odegaard, and Saka got the assist for that. Saka was also on 3 bonus points. Unfortunately, as the game went on, he did lose the 3 bonus due to Arsenal's defensive performance. And I was on a green arrow until Saka's assist got removed. So Saka was meant to have 2 assists, but because I think someone touched the ball in that first assist, it got taken away. So he only got the 6 points for that 1 assist. So unfortunately, only the 1 assist for Saka, 6 points. I'll still take it because still a decent return from him, and I'm happy that I have him in my team. Moving on to Martinelli, he wasn't involved as much. Only the 2 points. He was subbed off as well around the 80-minute mark, I believe. Just because he was on the yellow, I thought Arteta didn't want to risk it, so he took him off because he was in a bit of a battle with Romero, and I think they were riling each other up. So I think Arteta didn't want to take the risk, and he took him off. So yeah, 2 points from him. Moving on to Rashford, the man in form. Rashford has been brilliant for Man United in the last, 6 weeks or so, since the restart, I should say, and even before he was doing well. So Rashford does score the winner in the Manchester derby. A lovely ball in from Garnacho, and Rashford is there to basically tap it in. Good finish still to remain calm, and I think Rashford obviously 10-pointer, double digit again return. And I think if you've not got Rashford in your team right now, you should by now. His price has risen again. He's now 7.1 million, I think. And he also got the 3 bonus points, so can't complain. And he's got another game against Palace. So if you captain Rashford, guys, I know there's a lot of people that went captain Rashford, even triple captain. It's looking like it's going to pay off so far ahead of Haaland, who we will come on to. And yeah, not much to say. Rashford scores the winner. Could have maybe had another goal. He could have done better with another chance he had, but he's got Palace left, as well as Luke Shaw. Palace away, and I think he could score again in that one, and you could see a very nice score for Rashford, for those especially that captained him. Moving up front to Erling Haaland, who had Man United. Obviously, Haaland was pretty quiet in that game. I think he had 1 decent chance that he maybe could have done better on his left foot. I think he tried to shoot and he got blocked. I can't remember by who. But other than that, I don't think Haaland had many chances at all. I think Man United defended really good. They were compact. They didn't give Man City that much space. I thought Casemiro was good. I thought Luke Shaw's been good this especially since the restart. Varane was all right. So Man United just flooded that middle bit, and I think Haaland did struggle to kind of get any chances. So just other than that 1 chance, he had nothing. But it's not over for Haaland. Obviously, he's got Tottenham next at home as well. You'd expect him to get, back to scoring ways and maybe winning that one with Tottenham the way they're playing. So for those that did triple captain Haaland, obviously I was considering it. I wouldn't be too down. So if he scores 2 goals against Tottenham, you still take that, I think. But it's not been a great start for Haaland, triple captainers. I'm actually quite glad he blanked, because obviously I don't want him to do well, just obviously because I didn't triple captain him. So only the 4 points because he's my captain. Moving on to the unlucky Mitrovic, as I mentioned earlier, he slipped, got a double touch, and basically missed the penalty. So he lost the 2 points for that. What can I say? I think that's 3 penalties Mitrovic has missed so far this season. Bearing in mind he's already got 12 goals. If he had, if he scored those penalties, he could be on the same goals as Haaland. So Mitrovic, whether he's going to stay on penalties, I don't know, because that's becoming quite a theme of him missing penalties. Hopefully he does stay on, but I have a decision to make with Mitrovic. Do I keep him? But Fulham are doing well. I thought they performed pretty decent against Newcastle today, but obviously Newcastle win it in the end with a goal. So all in all, that is pretty much my game week 20 team so far. I've still got the 2 Man United boys and the 2 Man City boys left to play. So 4 players left.
That's 5.
Sorry, 5. Sorry, Cancelo, I forgot. I got triple City, haven't I? Yeah, 3 Man City players left, 2 Man United players left. And currently I am on 44 points, which isn't great. It is a red arrow. I believe the safety score is 49. But because I have 5 players left, essentially, I'm not worried yet. I still could get a green arrow, I think, as well as... as long as Kevin De Bruyne has a good game. And I'm hoping he can against Tottenham, as well as Luke Shaw. So yeah, red arrow to 1.5 million. I just can't believe it's probably been my worst rank so far since playing FPL. It is what it is, though. It's been a weird season. On the bench, Everson doesn't play. Ben White goes and gets, I think, a couple of bonus points and the clean sheet, which not many saw coming. 8-pointer, so very nice from him, but he's on my bench. Greenwood got 1 point, and obviously Patterson is injured. So, yeah, guys, this is the Game Week 20 team. Let me know what you think. Overall, not too great for me, but still 5 players left, so we'll see what happens in the second round of fixtures. We are going to move on to your team, Jordan, to see how you've done in Game Week 20. But before we do start that, I just want to say, if you are watching, guys, don't forget to drop a like. It helps us, helps the channel out a lot. So if you are enjoying the content, don't forget to drop a like to show your support. And also, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. Get a few comments, and then Jordan will come onto your team. We've got Nanjay. Hey, what's up, guys? Yep. What's up to you, Nanjay? I hope you're well. Nice to see you in the stream. We've got Tricky Trees. Mount to whom at that price point got Saka, KDB, Almiron, Rashford. So I own Mount as well. I think Odegaard is nice if you don't have him. I do like Odegaard as a double Arsenal attack. So I wouldn't mind Odegaard. But we will come on to that in depth more when we look at the fixtures, potential double game weeks to be announced. I think Mitoma, if you want to go cheap, I think Mitoma's nice for Brighton. As I mentioned him, he did get an assist against Liverpool, which does not surprise me. I did say Mitoma would get something against Liverpool, and he did get an assist, and he also had a great game. But yeah, we'll come on to this question in a sec. When we go into the second half of the video, when we talk about Game Week 21. We've got El Padrino as well in the chat. Welcome, El Padrino. Hope you're well. And then Elliot says Haaland to score a milestone against Spurs.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, probably not for us. Obviously, we didn't triple captain him. Anyway, Jordan, let's get you in. Let's get your team up, and talk us through how your team's done, and what you think of the game week so far.
Okay, so this is how my team's gone so far. I'll start off with Ederson in goal. So obviously, Man City did lose 2-1 to Man United in that game, and that led to obviously Ederson getting the 1-pointer for the goals conceded. So he got the point taken off of that, and no clean sheet for him. So that leaves him with only 1 point. He's still got Tottenham at home to play, so maybe they can get a clean sheet in that, as Tottenham have looked pretty bad, especially losing tonight against Arsenal 2-0. And defensively, they don't look great. So maybe Everton can have some fortune in that second double game week fixture. Moving on to the defence. This is probably getting too old now, but Trippier, yet again, another return of 9 points. almost a double haul, just 1 point off of that. And yeah, it's nothing new to Trippier getting a return and Newcastle keeping another clean sheet. I think it's almost certain now you can expect Trippier to get a bonus point as long as Newcastle keep a clean sheet, as it always seems to happen. So yeah, Trippier with the 9 pointer with a clean sheet and the bonus 3 on top of that. Moving on to Cancelo, who did get the 1 point and did start in that Man City game. It was expected as it was a massive game, especially with a derby against Man United. Unfortunately, though, he did come up with only 1 point in that game. He did look slightly more better, though, in that performance than he has previously seen. But yeah, he did get obviously the same as Edison goals conceded, so the minus 1 point away from that. So that leaves him with only the 1 point going forward. He still has Tottenham at home as well to go to obviously play at Etihad Stadium. So we have to see whether he starts in that game and whether he can keep a clean sheet or get something else. Moving on to Luke Shaw, who I do have to praise because he was the man that was keeping an eye on Haaland through that whole game. Literally, he was stuck with him like glue. He did an amazing performance with it up to the very end. He kept Haaland silent and quiet throughout that game, not letting him have any chances. The only chance he did manage was the one that was blocked by Casemiro with a sliding defense. So yeah, it was an outstanding performance. I'm not even annoyed that he got 2 points and the clean sheet was white. I think he was outstanding in terms of his form. And with Crystal Palace away next, Crystal Palace did come off of a loss as well, so there is high confidence that Man United can keep a clean sheet in that, and Shaw can equalise on that 2-pointer. Moving on to the midfield, we got Martinelli, who does get the 2 points. I didn't watch much of this Arsenal game, but judging from it, obviously he did blank and he did get a yellow card in that game. I feel that's just a bit unfortunate for Martinelli, even though Arsenal won 2-0. I feel like he can obviously bounce back. He does have Man United next, so that will be quite an interesting fixture, especially for a title race and whatnot in the top 5. But yeah, just a 2-pointer for Martinelli. Moving on to Almiron. Again, another blank from him. So yeah, he only gets 3 points. I think the extra 1 point for the clean sheet that Newcastle kept in that game. And yeah, nothing much else from Almiron in that. And another blank. And maybe some people may be considering taking Almiron out and switching him for another midfielder at this point, because this is his third consecutive blank, I think, for Newcastle. So it will be interesting what people do with him. Moving on to the Man United duo in the midfield. So we'll start off with the amazing Bruno Fernandes, who finally gets a goal. And what a fixture to get it in as well. Man City, never expected that to happen at all, but he does manage it, scoring the goal, gets the 9-pointer. I think he gets the bonus 2 on top of that. A very nice finish from Bruno Fernandes. I think it was very questionable whether that goal was to be allowed or not. Obviously, from how it was shown, it didn't look like it was going to be given until obviously it went through the VAR and whatnot, just because of how Rashford was going for it, and then suddenly at the last minute leaves it, and we all thought, well, because he did go for it, he's sort of interfering with play, but apparently not. But I won't argue with that because I'm a Man United fan, and that counts as a goal. So yeah, I'll take that any day. But yeah, Bruno Fernandes has Crystal Palace away next, so I'm quite looking forward to what he can do in that game, as he has proven a very valuable differential gem for me so far. Moving on to Marcus Rashford, who does get the double haul of 10 points, scoring the late goal to win the game for Man United, assisted by Garnacho. Yeah, Rashford is having the time of his life in this season, especially when he's had 2 rough seasons beforehand, being benched and not being started and whatnot. He has certainly turned that around with Ten Hag. He's literally back to the way he was when we saw Rashford scoring goals, and yeah, he's doing a madness every game week now. It's amazing seeing him back in his old form. I think a lot of triple captainers are very happy with his 30 points currently, especially when he has Crystal Palace away. You can
Yeah.
almost certainly guarantee you'll get something out of that game, whether it's an assist or a goal in that. So I think it has pretty much paid off for people that triple captain Rashford already. I think anything else from that now is a bonus on top of it. So congratulations to those who did take the risk and not go for Haaland and went for Rashford, because it has paid off for you so far. And moving on to the last midfielder, and that is Rodrigo. He was a bit unlucky, I would say, in that game. Even they did lose 2-1 to Aston Villa. Surprisingly, I didn't think Aston Villa were really the the ones that would really win that. It looked really more to Leeds in that direction. But yeah, they did lose 2-1. Rodrigo did score, but his goal was ruled off offside, which is fair enough. Could have been another outcome, but he did blank in that game. And I think Bamford did score the goal when he came on, which was even more frustrating. But nonetheless, he does have nice fixtures coming up next, so I'm obviously holding on to him. I'm not really put off by the blank. I think it's just a bit unfortunate. I'm just glad he's getting chances still. Moving on to the front two, obviously Haaland did blank in that Man United and Derby, getting the 4 points only. So yeah, he has a captaincy over him, so that's why he has the 4 points. Otherwise, he would have 2. He does have Tottenham at home next, which really scares me, because after today's performance that Tottenham gave, it doesn't give me any more confidence that they can really hold back Haaland. Defensively, they are not in the right shape of mind at all. So I'm not sure whether they could keep Haaland quiet in that fixture like Man United has. I can't really imagine what player could silence Haaland, as I think he'll just walk all over the Tottenham defence. But we have to see what happens in that. Hopefully, he doesn't do a madness, as we haven't triple captained him. But hopefully, he can score at least one goal, because then it's not really such a bad thing to happen. And finally, we got Ivan Toney, who was my transfer in for Darwin Núñez, which did pay off very nicely. Toney was rewarded a goal in that Brentford game against Bournemouth. It was quite a very stalemate kind of game in the first half, and it wasn't quite sure really which way it was going to go. But then Bournemouth did concede a penalty. Obviously, Toney did take it and scored the penalty, and it was rewarded with 9 points. So 5 for the goal and 3 for the bonus on top of that. So yeah, it was a nice return from Ivan Toney coming back from his injury. And yeah, he did top off the game week 20 for my starting 11 very nicely. So that's pretty much how my starting 11 players have gone. Obviously, I have 6 double game week players still we have to play. So at the moment, it's quite in a good position. I'll just go through my bench briefly. So we've got Danny Ward, who did get the only 2 points. Leicester did lose 2-0 to Nottingham Forest, surprisingly. We've got Nketiah, who did blank as well in the Arsenal game, only getting the 2 points, even though he played really well. Ben White, this might shock a few, he got 8 points. He did get a bonus on top of that as well. Another return from Ben White, who I did bench last game week, and now I've benched in this game week, has been quite annoying in terms of how much points have been on the bench. And we got Dunk, the Brighton defender, who Brighton did win 3-0 against Liverpool. I didn't expect them to actually keep a clean sheet, even though Liverpool had been really poor. That was
that's why I got rid of Salah.
yeah, that was very surprising for Brighton to keep a clean sheet, but he did get 5 points Dunk on in that game. But yeah, overall, my rank hasn't really changed, if I'm honest. I'll say it's pretty neutral. It's not really a green or a red, so I'm still hovering around the 500k peak mark.
Yep.
So I'm just into it with 499k. I've got a total of 52 game week points so far. Hopefully that goes up a bit more, depending on who gets the returns in the second fixtures. And my total points is 1,162. So yeah, that is pretty much my summary of how Double Game Week 20 has gone so far for me.
Okay, thank you for that. But yeah, let's move on to any more comments, questions. If you are guys still watching, don't forget to show us your appreciation by dropping a like on the video if you haven't already. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get to 800 subscribers next. So if you can, please do drop a subscribe. Um, Philip says, hey gents, who are good replacements for Kukurea? Where would you go, Jordan? Because I think Trippier's template. A lot of us have him. I think Luke Shaw. If you don't have Luke Shaw, for me, Luke Shaw is the one to go for. Personally, because Man United could have another double coming up in 22, I think.
Yeah.
You could go for another City defender, I guess, but it's not many. I mean, Newcastle defense, if Botman, it paid off again with another clean sheet. So if you do have double Newcastle defense, I'm not against Botman, but the only worry is the only problem with Newcastle, as I said, they will blank in game week 25, and you'll have to cover that. One many people haven't probably considered, and is an interesting one, is actually a Aston Villa defender. Because when there's a blank game week 25 and there's a blank game week 28, I think Aston Villa actually play in those games. So maybe someone like a Tyrone Mings, when they blank, when in those blank game weeks where you just play the Aston Villa player. But it's just a suggestion. Other than that, any other defenders you like the look of, Jordan? Because I've said Luke Shaw, Trippier's in everyone's team. Double defense, you could go with Botman.
I would say Ben Mee, because I did recommend him for game week 20 and he did get a clean sheet against Bournemouth at home, and Brentford do have nice fixtures looking ahead of that fixture as well. And I think with Ben Mee as well, you got the potential of an attacking threat from headers if Brentford get set pieces and corners. So yeah, I'd probably say Ben Mee as a cheap replacement for Cucurella.
Fair enough. I will bring up some fixtures as well. Actually, when we'll talk about game week 21, and we'll also look at further ahead as well, and look at how we should be lining our teams up. There is no doubles confirmed yet, is there? Really, so far for 21 or 22?
No, not for 21. I know there is one for 23.
Yeah,
for Arsenal
and City.
And City.
So Arsenal and City play each other for the double in game week 23, which is going to be a very good game for sure for the neutrals. We'll bring up some fixtures in a sec. Maybe the fixture difficulties. I don't know if you can bring it up actually on the screen. But I want to get a few more comments. What do you think of Odegaard in for Almiron? I think definitely, yeah. I like the look of this. Odegaard scored another goal again, and very nice goal.
I don't know for Almiron because he still is highly owned. My only worry with that is if you take out Almiron, it's a massive rank decrease if he does get a return. If Odegaard doesn't get a return, I know Odegaard's been really good so far in terms of getting goals and whatnot. I would probably prefer to keep Almiron and get Odegaard for someone else that is a bit more low owned in my team, because Almiron is template. A lot of people do have him, and I would be afraid to get rid of him to bring in like an Odegaard.
Fair enough. So I don't actually have Odegaard myself, but yeah, I like it. I think Odegaard. If you had to pick two Arsenal players, I'd probably go Martinelli, Odegaard, maybe, or even Saka. I've got Saka as well. And Saka's definitely been one of the transfers that has paid off for me since the restart. Krosberg says Haaland was a disaster. Did you triple captain him? Let me know. I'm assuming you did. Is it time to make your bench players stronger? I mean, you have a pretty strong bench, don't you?
Yeah, I have a strong bench to the point where it's almost a benching headache. And I feel like after the break from the World Cup, making the bench that's really strong was my first priority of going forward, as it has, even though I've had lots of points on the bench, I've just been covered from it as well, just in case there has been injuries and whatnot. And so far, I haven't used a hit because of injuries and whatnot. And it has fortunately worked out for me having a strong bench, just because those availability of players on your team is just helpful. So yeah, I think it is time, if you haven't already, to make your bench players stronger.
Animations thinking this week about doing Salah and either Nketiah or Greenwood to Mitoma and Kane. I like the Mitoma shout. We'll come on to Mitoma. Abdullah also mentioned you should get a Brian player. And yeah, Mitoma is another one. Elliot says Zaha replacements. I think you could go to Mitoma. He's only 4.9 million, I think. And he's playing well. I'm going to bring up the fixtures now, Jordan. So bear with me for a sec and we'll just quickly look ahead, for the next 5-6 game weeks.
Yeah. Just to mention about Mitoma, I think he is getting a lot more involved now because obviously Trossard, personal reasons, is not playing as well. So that kind of helps as well with like the Brighton midfield in terms of players like Mitoma getting more on the ball. So it's like the situation with Bamford and Rodrigo. When Bamford doesn't play, Rodrigo obviously plays more and gets more chances. It's like the same for Mitoma in Brighton.
So if we're looking at Brighton's fixtures, obviously there is no doubles confirmed yet. So we know Manchester United and Liverpool could double in the next 2 game weeks. So do bear that in mind, guys. We know Newcastle will probably blank in 25, as I've mentioned. So where is Newcastle? That fixture they were meant to have against Brighton could get rescheduled. But just looking at Brighton, Leicester next, Bournemouth at home, which could be a good fixture for them. Palace away, Fulham at home, Newcastle away, West Ham at home, Leeds away. They've got some nice fixtures, especially in the next, 6-7 game weeks. I am looking at Brighton myself. I like the Mitoma shout, and I think I will probably be bringing him in. You just got to decide when. But yeah, he's one that I like the look of. I think another player you could go for is someone like FPL Feezy says is Mount to March. Solly March, obviously, as you can see by the thumbnail. He did score 2 goals against Liverpool. I don't know if I'd go March over Mitoma. I think I still prefer Mitoma just to save the money. I don't know if it's a bit knee-jerky bringing March in. But I like McAllister as well, potentially. But for me, Mitoma is still the number 1 player I'd want just because of you save the money to get and spread it around. So yeah, I still go Mitoma, and then McAllister will probably be my second choice.
Yeah, I think also we have to consider that Liverpool are in a really bad state at the moment, and that does give Brighton an advantage over players like Marsh to score and get chances, because a lot of our Brighton players had many chances in that game, like McAllister and whatnot.
Mitoma as well.
Yeah, and for the Brighton's next fixtures, you kind of have to expect that they have to be in Liverpool's kind of form. Bournemouth are pretty much near it, so I can probably forgive him in that one. But in the rest of the fixtures that Brighton have, I don't think Marsh can keep up with those returns personally. I think more of them will come from mainly players like Mitoma more, just because those fixtures won't be as easy as Liverpool one was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could take a punt on it. I guess it's up to you. I'm just looking at the stats. How many goals? Brighton's top scorer is Leandro Trossard, obviously 7 goals. Who is now out the team. Obviously, Pascal Gross has all had a good start to the season, but he was on the bench, I think, yesterday, and didn't even play against Liverpool, which was interesting. McAllister has 5 goals. Solly March is actually he's on 4 goals for Brighton now, so 2 goals yesterday. So I think Solly March could be a good pick if you want to go there. Why not? If this season has learned me anything, is that template does not always pay. Yeah, template hasn't really worked out as much, especially for me at the start of the season. Players like Trent and Salah were pretty template, and obviously they haven't worked out because Liverpool haven't been great at all. What's your thoughts, Jordan, on the template?
Yeah, I think I realised this before. Well, when we had the break of the World Cup, I think I realised when I answered this question myself, and yeah, it didn't pay off for me personally either, and that's why I wanted to go a bit different going forward after the World Cup when FPL resumed, and yeah, it still hasn't changed. It's the template still hasn't really worked even after the World Cup. It's still the same situation where premiums, you've only got Harry Kane and Haaland, who are actually getting returns as premiums, and everyone else that is returning are pretty much differentials or
Yeah,
surprising players that haven't done well in previous seasons that have excelled this season out of not predicting either these players doing well. So yeah, this season is quite different to ones we've had previously where we expect Salah, Trent, even Kevin De Bruyne at the moment,
Cancelo as well,
and
pretty template.
Cancelo. Yeah, all these premiums not doing well this season, and it's just turned the template upside down so far.
And Arsenal doing really well. Man United are coming back on it a bit more. Chelsea aren't doing well. So yeah, interesting season. Very wild season so far. Yeah, Yo B says Mings good shout. Yeah, I've just now Mings has a fixture in game week 25 when Newcastle blank potentially. So you could consider bringing in and Aston Villa. Who do they play? So in game week 25 they got Everton away, which is quite a nice fixture. And also you can play him in game week 28, I think. So in 28 they have Leicester at home. Because with the way the blanks are situated, I think Aston Villa player could make sense.
Yeah, and Emery sort of changed Aston Villa as well. He's improved it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think they're now 11th Aston Villa, which is, where Gerrard was there, it wasn't looking good, and now Emery's in charge. I don't think Aston Villa are that bad anymore as a pick potentially. Yeah, they're 11th now, only 3 points behind Liverpool. So that is a bit crazy when you think about it. Aston Villa, who had a terrible start to the season, only 3 points behind Liverpool and Chelsea. So what a difference a couple of weeks makes with the new manager. So yeah, probably wait until who blanks in 25. Might have to roll. Would you play Gaming 21, Castagna, Bueno, or Cucurella? I'll have to see who they have. So Castagna has Brighton at home. Bueno has Man City, so definitely not Bueno. And who else is the other player?
Cucurella.
Cucurella, is he going to start? He has Liverpool, so I'll play Castagna, I think. Probably. Actually,
Yeah,
it's a hard one to say. You could
I
play
was
the
thinking
Chelsea
the
defender
same.
with the Liverpool aren't great right now, but neither are Chelsea really though.
No, and Cucurella doesn't get rotated, so I would be worried if he doesn't play for the Liverpool game where they might get a clean sheet in it. And without Cucurella playing, then I would be annoying. And
I'd probably start Cucurella and then have first bench Castagna.
yeah, and hope Potter doesn't bring on Cucurella.
And if he plays, never know, he could keep a clean sheet. We'll have to see with Liverpool with Nunes back, etc. For the next game. I don't think he is. Abdi Rahman, Martial out. If you own Martial, I mean, he's got the double, so see how he does. I think you've got to wait and see. He did play against Man City. Don't know what it is with Martial, but he cannot complete 90 minutes. So that is a worry. He's not going to play 90 minutes, I don't think, most games. We did mention that. After Arsenal next as well in game week 21, which could be tough for Man United with the way Arsenal are playing. But after that, the fixtures aren't too bad for Martial. So I say wait and see how he does against Palace. If he plays well against Palace, you might be tempted just to hold him. I don't know. But definitely you could consider him out. But who would you buy, Jordan, if you wanted to get rid of Martial? What striker is there?
I would buy Tony right now, especially coming back from injury and scoring a penalty against Bournemouth at home. I think he's going to be one of those forwards that is going to return very nicely. Brentford have really nice fixtures with Leeds away next, then Southampton. Arsenal, probably not a good one for him, but then afterwards, you got, again, nice fixtures. Brentford have decent ones, apart from the Arsenal one. So, yeah, I'll probably go Tony.
I think Brentford are okay for the next two. Leeds away, Southampton at home look quite nice. But there's only that worry with Tony, the betting allegations, whatever. Is he going to get a ban? Is that sorted out yet? Because I actually don't know what's happening with that. So can we just assume that he's fine and bring him in?
Yeah, at the moment, yeah, I think you can assume it's fine unless there's like an update or something that's happened where Tony is banned. From now onwards, thus far, I'd say Tony's a decent replacement if you want to replace Martial.
Hmm.
He does have Arsenal next, Martial, so I don't
Yeah.
expect much in terms of an attack and return for many players from that game because he's going to be a very like Man City in the first half. It was really cagey, like nothing was really happening.
Hmm. Moving on to another question. What do you think about dropping Salah? I mean, I've dropped Salah this week and I feel great. I've kept on to Salah probably 16 weeks too long. I know he's had a few returns here and there, which is nice, but yeah, I'm just not confident on Liverpool, guys. As I've said it so many times. I was pretty certain Salah wouldn't get anything against Brighton, and I know a lot of people said just hold him. Nunes isn't playing, but I wasn't confident on Salah getting a return, and I was quite happy to remove him. And if you look at Liverpool's fixtures, they're not too bad, but any team right now playing against Liverpool, I honestly fancy any team. If Wolves away is a green fixture, Everton at home is a green fixture apparently, but I don't see it that way. I think a lot of these fixtures are probably red fixtures for Liverpool, the way they play. So I wouldn't look at the fixture tracker for Liverpool. They're not playing like their usual self. So any greens, do take it with a pinch of salt. Yeah, I think if you drop Salah, it gives you a lot of money. You can go to Kevin De Bruyne, who had a double in 23. There is a caveat, though, that Salah could have a double game week himself in game week 21. Or we'll see if that's announced this week. But even if that's announced, I wouldn't be confident of Salah in a double game week right now. And as coming from a Liverpool fan, watching Liverpool and the way they're playing, I'd be dropping. I mean, I have dropped him. So, yeah, that's my opinion on it. I'd be dropping him. Jordan, this question for you: who's a good differential to chase ranks? Let's say like me, possibly you're
Ooh,
trying to chase.
yes.
You don't want to go template. You want to go against the crowd, and you want to be different. How do someone that wants to take risks?
Okay, so I'll probably recommend a few that I have that has paid me very well in terms of chasing rank.
For the next 5, let's say for the next from now till
For the next 5, I'll probably say Bruno Fernandes because he's still not highly owned. I mean, he's had 2 assists and 1 goal in the last 4 game weeks, which is pretty good for differential. It has paid off really well for me.
he's outscored. Sorry, I was just going to add. Bruno Fernandes has outscored Salah and Kevin De Bruyne since the World Cup restart.
Yeah, so and he's cheaper than both of those players as well, just under 10 million. So as a differential pick at the moment, if you haven't got him already, I say Bruno Fernandes, if you want to chase rank, is I'll say probably one I would recommend bringing in as a player that is underlooked. It hasn't really been looked at all, despite him getting 2 assists and 1 goal. And with Christoph, well, obviously double game week, it won't really count. But after the Arsenal game that Man United have, they potentially have a double as well in 22, which is yet to be confirmed. So it sets you up nicely in terms of Man United assets, especially for a differential for Bruno Fernandes, who is also on penalties as well, is worth going for.
Surprisingly, Bruno Fernandes' ownership is only 3.9%, so he's a very nice differential. Maybe very underlooked. And if you look at Man United fixtures, okay, Arsenal next, which is probably not an easy fixture, but after that, Palace at home, Leeds away, and Leeds don't look that good. Leicester at home, and Leicester aren't good at all. Brentford as well, Liverpool, Southampton. I think Bruno Fernandes is one that you could definitely go for. For me, another one I'm going to mention, I have already mentioned, is Mitoma. If you want a cheap player, less than 5 million, Mitoma for Brighton, I think is a good pick. I think he will get higher owned. More managers bringing him in the coming weeks. Who else is there? I think
There's could possibly be Rodrigo. He's
yeah,
not differential I own as well. He was a bit unlucky not scoring because it was offside. But apart from that, he's still a nice pick.
he's got Brentford next. Nottingham Forest away, then United, Everton, Southampton. So he could be a nice pick as well. It will be interesting to see. Obviously, Bamford is back now, so
yeah, I was about to say that's a bit of an annoyance now because he is back. I don't think he'll start many Bamford just because he is injury prone, but
yeah,
there is that chance he may play ahead of Rodrigo when he does.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Also looking at the fixtures, who else is there really? Wolves, I'm not keen in the next two fixtures. West Ham aren't just not good right now. Spurs, no one really. Nottingham Forest have some couple of decent fixtures coming up. Bournemouth away, Leeds at home, Fulham away. But would you want a Nottingham Forest player? I
There's
mean,
only Gibbs White, really, I would really consider.
yeah, and also didn't they score? Who was the player that scored over the weekend? Brennan Johnson. Sorry,
Brennan Johnson, yeah.
he scored 2 goals against Leicester. Brendan Johnson, and he's got Bournemouth next, Leeds, and Fulham. He could be a decent punt for 3 weeks. Brendan Johnson.
Yeah.
Isak is now back as well, Jordan. He came on and scored the winner with a header. Isak as a striker with Palace, West Ham, and Bournemouth next. He will blank in 25, as I mentioned. Isak, potentially. You reckon? You go there or?
Yeah, personally, if it was my transfer plans, I could go there. I'd just be worried about his. Obviously, he has been injured before. Whether he can sustain and keep up to good health from that, but I'm sure he can, as it was a pretty early injury. He came in the start of the season and got injured and has been returned now, so he's had a lot of rest for it. So I assume he could keep it up.
Yeah, so those are some of the players, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Drop us your differentials. Rodrigo's an interesting one as well because Rodrigo, I didn't even realize Rodrigo has 10 goals in the league this season. He's the 5th highest scorer in the Premier League, which pretty good so far. So
yeah, and he's still getting those chances, which is a good sign, as we've seen with previous players.
Brentford, obviously, we mentioned Tony as a differential. He paid off for you. You could go to someone like Wissa or Mbuemo. I'd probably prefer Tony. And yeah, that's about it really for differential. I think differentials. I like Brighton as the team, like McAllister, Bentoma, even Solly March, because I don't feel like they're highly owned. It. Not many teams I've seen have Brighton players.
Also, Ben Mee as well. If I want to include a Brentford defender as well, he's at 6% owned, so he's a differential pick if you want to go in the defensive player slot.
All right, fair enough. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Chief. If you are enjoying the content, guys, as always, don't forget to drop a like. It helps us, helps the channel out. It helps us show your appreciation for the content. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel as well. We are trying to get to 800 subscribers next. And yeah, any other questions? Drop them in. Is there anything else we need to discuss, Jordan?
Well, obviously, you have to look forward into our teams going into Gameweek 21 and see what situation they're in, because I haven't actually looked.
Okay, I'll let you bring your team up very quickly, and I'm going to answer a question. I'll let you bring your team up. From Braddon, why many people go Haaland captain when Rashford have the better fixture? This is a good question. And this is what I was saying about the logic of applying the triple captain. When we just slap it on Haaland anyway, regardless. I think it's because Game Week 9, guys. In Game Week 9, Haaland had Manchester United, and I think a lot of people were burned after that game week where we said Haaland's got a tough fixture, let's go against him. And he goes and scores a hat-trick. And I think people are worried now to back against Haaland because if you look at Haaland's record, he's only blanked in about, I think, 3 or 4 matches. So it is very hard to go against Haaland when his effective ownership, he's owned and captained by most managers in the game. So if you go against him and it doesn't work, you could be looking at serious red arrows, and it is a risk. I think that is why I think people have just fear of going against Haaland, because if he scores and you haven't captained him, you could be getting a massive red arrow. So I just think it comes down to that. I think Haaland, I know he blanked this week against Man United, but he has scored in pretty much every single other game. So yeah, I think his record speaks for itself so far. So I just think his people are worried because we know what he can do. All right, Jordan, talk us through the fixtures mainly. Like you got 2 free transfers, right?
I do indeed. Depending on if there's any double game weeks confirmed from Game Week 21 onwards,
Yeah.
obviously before the deadline for Game Week 21, will depend on how I use those 2 transfers. But
Yeah.
currently, this is the team. We got
Who?
Edison, who's got
Sorry, I was going to ask you,
Yeah.
what player would you recommend maybe to like taking out like all the fixtures? Are you happy with it? Because obviously you've got 4 players that play in that same fixture: Man United, Arsenal.
Yeah, I have got 2 Arsenal players benched in that,
Oh yeah.
and I think I would rather play either the Man United assets or Arsenal. So I think going forward, I would rather play Man United, the assets in my starting 11, just because I got Nketiah, who's a differential forward. But on the other hand, I've got Tony, who's got Leeds away, and then Haaland. So I don't think I'd play him over those 2 that have those fixtures. And obviously Ben White, I don't expect to keep a clean sheet against Man United, even though it's a home fixture for Arsenal. So I think in that position, I'd rather play Luke Shaw, who has I'd say more of attacking threat, just to see what he does against Arsenal, where I don't expect a clean sheet from him. But maybe an attack and return may be nice.
Yeah.
And obviously Fernandez is a differential, so I want to keep him in my team so I get a rank gain from him because he is low owned. And Rashford is too highly owned to be too bench or get rid of, especially from his had another price rise. So yeah, that's my thinking of that.
I mean, your
With
team
those
looks pretty good setup for Game Week 21. You will have 2 free transfers as well. A lot of people don't. Most people have 1 really, I think. Most people took hits. Most people, like me as well, use both my transfers. So you're in a luxury position. I would definitely be using 1 because the blank game weeks are coming up, and you want to save some transfers. I think. Going into those game weeks, so I think you're in a good position. I might roll actually, even though I don't really want to, just because I know blank game weeks are coming up, and I'm going to need a couple transfers to fix my team. So I wouldn't be doing a transfer, guys. If you can avoid it, I don't think I'd do it unless you've got 2 free transfers like Jordan. Then maybe
because my transfer is very easy this week because I'm getting rid of Cancelo, even though he has Wolves at home.
You're getting rid of him.
He's easily my transfer out because he is too much money to keep in the team, which kind of makes sense for his performances as well. And that is hence why I brought Edison in beforehand, just so I'm at this moment in time now I can get rid of Cancelo and still have a potential Man City asset that can maybe get a clean sheet if needed to be. Because with Cancelo, we're not getting attack and returns from him. He's basically lucky to get a clean sheet if Pep decides to play him as well. We're not too sure if he's a first starter either. So with all these against Cancelo, it's not worth keeping him in and just saving the money, investing it somewhere else in another player, and transferring him out for a cheaper defender who may get more returns from him at a cheaper price.
I'm going to quickly bring up my team. Bear with me for a sec. I've got some thinking to do as well for my team. So that's my team on the screen. I've got Trippier, Shaw, Cancelo. I've got Mount against Liverpool. Now, the way Liverpool are playing, I don't know. Do I keep him? I've got Saka, Martinelli. I've got Rashford. I've got De Bruyne against Wolves. I think I'm happy with De Bruyne against Wolves. Haaland. And then Mitrovic has got Tottenham. So I'll have to decide what do I do, because I'm not really sure right now. I think I'll have to take... I might be tempted to roll, guys, even though I don't really like my team at all, because Mitrovic has Tottenham and Mount has Liverpool. But like I said, that Liverpool fixture, I don't even think that's that bad for Chelsea. But Mount doesn't really get many goals, so Chelsea don't score many goals, as I said. So I might just take Mount out, I think, this week for someone cheap, like a Brighton midfielder. Try getting ahead early and try be different. But we'll come on to that. We're going to do our transfer tips video on Tuesday. We're going to have team selection on Thursday as well. So a lot of videos to come. And we will discuss any potential double game week. So I will be looking out for any announced doubles, and that will kind of dictate my transfers. So nothing set in stone yet. Michael Parker's, I'm holding on. Cancelo, he megged a couple players in United game, still lost. Held back on the triple. Look at Tony, March, Bailey, me. What did you think of Kane, Son? Fernandez did good. Rashford on fire. Tony again. with the Tony has a nice fixture, so he was always going to get something potentially penalty, and he's on penalties as a bonus. Kane and Son. I think Son is definitely not a player I'd want to have in my FPL team right now. Kane had a chance. I think Ramsdale played quite well today. He had 2 saves from Kane. I think it was pretty nice. But yeah, Fernandez paying off for those that have him. And yeah, Rashford looks like he's probably in his form of his life right now. So yeah, I don't know about Tottenham. I think Man United is definitely a team that's looking good right now. But yeah, not as much on Tottenham. Anything else you'd like to add, Jordan, on that?
I will have to say I was a bit scared when Rashford went down on the pitch, because I thought he did something which he didn't like, because his reaction to it was not positive at all. But fortunately, he did get back up again and finish off the game. So hopefully nothing happens going forward with Rashford, because he is, as the comment suggested, he is on fire.
Yeah. But yeah, we're probably going to wrap the stream up here, just nearly an hour. But yeah, it's been a pretty decent Game Week 21, I guess, in terms of the football. Maybe not so for my rank, but we're back again on Tuesday for transfer tips for Game Week 21. So make sure you tune in for that. Subscribe so you don't miss out on other content, and also drop a like if you haven't already. I'll take this off the screen. And yeah, just want to say a big thank you to everyone that has watched the stream. If you enjoyed it, drop a like. We're back on Tuesday, as I said already. And yeah, hope everyone had a very good weekend. Hopefully all of you got a green arrow as well. And yeah, that's it from the FPL Duo. We'll see you again on Tuesday. Yeah, Jordan, anything else you want to add before we do wrap it up?
Just thank you for everyone joining us at this time. Obviously, hopefully you enjoyed the football this weekend. I know I certainly have, from that massive derby win. But yeah, hopefully you have a nice weekday and don't work too hard. Take it easy and enjoy the rest of Double Game Week 20, as there's still fixtures to come. And yeah, thanks for watching.
Yep, thank you guys, and see you soon.